Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of The Art of Belonging here on CAN TV, Channel 21. I'm your host, Ginger Leopoldo.
And I'm your co-host, Ashley Dequilla. We are so incredibly excited to bring you to this new space.
The Art of Belonging is all about our community building work in Chicago. Through this show, we want to lift the curtain on the incredible partnerships, programs, and grassroots empowerment that happens when we use the arts to tell our truths, claim our spaces, and uplift one another.
Exactly, Ginger. It's about how creativity gives us a place to root ourselves. And what better way to launch this journey than by celebrating a massive milestone? This year marks the 35th anniversary season of CIRCA Pintig.
For over 3 decades, CIRCA Pintig has been a home for Filipino American theater, cultural activism, and community activism. Today, we're going to look back at the legacy, look forward to what's coming, and dive deep into how we keep our history alive.
One world, one world, one world, one world. The wind calls out to me, I open up my eyes and face the task at hand, for tomorrow has arrived. Stars have written notes upon the paper skies. There's not much time left now, for tomorrow has arrived. 'Cause this is one world we live in, one ground we stand on, one sun to guide us, one name we're taking, one world we're sharing, one love contains us, one trip that takes us to one world of peace. We are the guardians of life's eternal stream. Our very own children are building on our dreams. What if tomorrow was a barren, wasted land? Where would our dreams be? What hope could we see? The trees are rustling leaves and whispering to my ears, it's time for us to be together on our way. Birds glide out to sea, they're crying out to me. Tomorrow has arrived, that tomorrow is the day.
When we look back at the projects that we've worked on for over 35 years, it's about so much more than just putting on a play. It's about the deep importance of how these stories to our collective identity come together. We've tackled immigration, identity, mental health, racial justice, labor, family memory, and belonging on stage.
And what's so powerful is that CIRCA Pintig has always believed that it is a mirror to our struggles and a bridge to our healing. From main stage productions to neighborhood workshops, the focus has always been on empowering the youth, honoring our elders, and standing in solidarity with fellow immigrant and BIPOC communities.
We aren't just making theater, we are building a sanctuary where people truly feel they belong. Ashley, looking back at some of those past projects, how does it feel seeing the impact of that 35-year footprint?
It's incredible to have both witnessed and been a part of shaping this legacy. My aunt, Divine Kalawalo, was one of the founding members of CIRCA Pintig, and I remember attending a play when she was in when I was a child. Later on, as a young adult, I volunteered with CIRCA, and today I'm a board member. And now my daughter Aya is watching everything this community is doing to activate culture and history.
That's what makes this work so intergenerational. It's not just about one production or one season, it's about passing something on, our stories, language, courage, memory, and the belief that our community deserves to be seen. A huge part of belonging is knowing where we came from and preserving the stories of those who paved the way. And so that brings us directly to some vital work that you've been leading, Ashley, with the Filipino American Historical Society of Chicago.
Yes, I've been serving as the Historical Society's archivist on a project to rescue, restore, and preserve priceless 16mm home movies from our community's history here in Chicago. These are some of the earliest surviving film records capturing the everyday lives, joys, and gatherings of early Filipino Americans in the city. Filipino-American Historical Society of Chicago is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization dedicated to recording and preserving Filipino-American history within the greater Chicago area. Established in 1986 by self-made cultural historian Estrella Alamar, its collection contains photographs, documents, newsletters, posters, sound recordings, sheet music, videotapes, analog film, cultural artifacts, and more. Since Estrella's passing in October of 2022, I stepped into the role of de facto collection manager and archivist of the Filipino-American Historical Society of Chicago, partnering with Chicago Film Society and the University of Chicago's South Side Home Movie Project to inventory, digitize, and preserve audiovisual media such as slides, reel-to-reel audio, cassette tapes, and film. Over 300 home movies within the Historical Society's analog film collection date from 1926 to 1988. These films are groundbreaking material as evidence of Filipino people through the authentic gaze of a Filipino from the first half of the 20th century. Estrella's uncle, Nicholas Viernes, was the filmmaker behind the camera for the majority of this collection. Viernes was born in Nueva Vizcaya of northern Luzon in 1902. He immigrated to the United States by ship in 1926, arriving in the Pacific Northwest and working as a migrant farmer until he finally settled in Chicago, Illinois, where he worked as a union pipe fitter. He was considered the unofficial Filipino community film historian and cameraman in Chicago, documenting travel, community events and gatherings, family celebrations, and leisure activities on 16mm film. Later in his life, he added intertitles to all of these home movies to create additional historical context and narrativization. In a sense, he was indisputably the star of his own show. Filipino visuality has been historically overdetermined by the colonial archive and imperial museum display. There is a significant absence of autonomous filmic documentation of Filipinos from the first half of the 20th century. The events of World War II wiped out much of the Philippines' rich cultural capital. The erasure of the Philippines' cinematic heritage is a prime example of this loss. Out of 350 feature films made in the Philippines from 1919 to 1941, only 5 are extant today. This collection is an important primary source repository for a broad range of fields, including Asian American studies, diaspora studies, and film studies. The Filipino American Historical Society of Chicago collection holds over a dozen pre-war films that stand the test of time to fill in the gap of the cinematic memory that was lost. as they contain filmic representations of Filipino life across the diaspora. The 5 Viernes films that were selected for federally funded awards by the National Film Preservation Foundation were created before World War II. Historically, cultural heritage materials from BIPOC communities have been stolen, appropriated, and abused without consent. Furthermore, many of these artifacts remain uncatalogued, undigitized, and inaccessible to the general public. For example, the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago has over 13,000 objects of Filipino culture in its collection, but only 1 artifact on view throughout the whole museum. As a co-curator partner and researcher of the Philippine Heritage Collection at the Field Museum, I lend to the stewardship, documentation, and interpretation of its heritage objects. The establishment of the Filipino-American Historical Society of Chicago collection is both a descendant and disruption to the history of Filipino material accumulation within anthropology collections, initiating an autonomous practice of care and agency for community archive building and memory space advocacy for future generations.
It's been breathtaking to personally see these archives come back to life. Ashley, tell everyone a bit about the historical context of these films and why they're so significant.
The Filipino-American Historical Society of Chicago was founded in 1986 by legendary community historian and self-made archivist Estrella Alamar. Her uncle, Nicholas Galutera Viernes, born in 1902, was a Filipino migrant from Solano, Nueva Vizcaya. He arrived in the Pacific Northwest in 1926, worked across the United States as a migrant farmer, and eventually settled in Chicago. He became a union pipe fitter for General Motors and the unofficial cameraman and documentarian of the Filipino-American community. He recorded gatherings, celebrations, travels, and events of his family and friends on his Bell & Howell camera using Kodak 16mm film stock. Uncle Nick was described as a very silent man, and film was his language and vehicle for his artistic expression. As a prolific cinephile, he recorded over 300 films in his lifetime. His home movies are among the earliest surviving Filipino-American documentary materials in cinema history, and 10 of his titles received National Film Preservation Foundation awards in 2024 and 2025. His extraordinary portrait shots of interracial Filipino-American families and their friends are defiant of the anti-miscegenation and anti-immigration narratives of their time. These home movies are a vital artifact of memory that shapes our past, present, and future. There's a significant absence of autonomous filmic documentation of Filipino people from the first half of the 20th century. The events of World War II wiped out much of the Philippines' cultural capital, and out of over 400 feature films produced in the Philippines before 1941, only 6 survive today. Dozens of Uncle Nick's pre-war home movies restore cinematic memory across the diaspora. This work is a monumental testimony to the dignity of immigrant narratives that continue to shape America today. These films are more than a celebration of Filipino-American history. They honor diasporic experiences that were never meant to be erased, suppressed, or forgotten.
It's so emotional to see. Thank you for your dedication to this, Ashley. Because of this preservation, our community knows exactly whose shoulders we're standing on.
And that is really the heart of the art of belonging. We belong because our people were here. We belong because they gathered, organized, loved, created families, danced, celebrated, and documented their lives, even when the larger society tried to erase them. Preserving our past is what fuels the work we do today. As we move forward into this historic 35th anniversary season, we have seen so many powerful partnerships, healing spaces, and programs lined to keep lined up to keep empowering our community through the arts.
And a big part of belonging is making sure our communities are seen, not only on stage and on screen, but also in the data that shapes healthcare and resources. Now, there are two important initiatives that are in the works right now. There is the MOSAIC study and the All of Us research program. So too often, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities are either lumped together or left out of health research. These studies are helping to change that.
When you participate in MOSAIC, or All of Us, you're helping build a more accurate picture of who we are, our health, our histories, and our needs, so that future care and funding really reflect our communities. It's another way of saying our stories matter, our bodies matter, our data matters.
We invite you to learn more and consider joining the MOSAIC study and the All of Us research program. This is part of how we practice bayanihan in research, sharing just a little bit so everyone can benefit down the line.
And healing is not only medical, it's also cultural and collective. We have a special invitation for you. On Tuesday, June 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Rizal Center, in partnership with the Asian Health Coalition, we're hosting a racial healing circle celebration using Photo Voice.
This gathering is open to all. We'll be inviting folks to bring a photo that represents healing, resilience, or a challenge they've faced, actually focusing on identity, their family, and community. Then we'll share those stories in a guided circle. We'll close with a community meal right after. You can RSVP online through Our Journey, Our Voice registration link, and we would really love to be in that space with you in real life.
This year, we've also been celebrating through the arts at the Rizal Center with Rickshaw Returns. Rickshaw Returns brought back our beloved literary platform, Rickshaw, for an evening of Asian American and Pacific Islander writers, comedians, musicians, and a visual art exhibition featuring 20 Asian American artists.
That night felt like a living archive of our community. It honored the 1990s roots of rickshaw while passing the mic to a new generation. It reminded us that belonging is also about making space for new voices, new forms, and new ways of gathering. June is a powerful time to show up, be visible, and celebrate that we belong here.
None of this work happens alone. We are so grateful for our community partners, including the Rizal Center, our cultural home and gathering space, the Filipino American Historical Society of Chicago, preserving our stories and archives, the Filipino School, nurturing language, culture, and intergenerational learning. Nothing Without a Company, lifting up new theater and film, Essential and Visible, helping us reimagine classics through our community lens, the Asian Health Coalition, supporting health equity and healing, and so many more.
We especially want to spotlight the Filipino School of Chicago, whose work is so deeply connected to the heart of belonging.
The Filipino School of Chicago empowers Filipino, Filipina, and Filipinx youth by fostering a deep connection to our heritage, languages, culture, and history, while cultivating leadership rooted in social justice.
Why does this work matter? Because Filipino language and cultural education supports families' efforts to raise thriving children and build stronger, more connected communities.
Multilingualism supports cognitive development in children. Connection to culture, values, and traditions fosters belonging, which is essential to mental health.
And these programs help strengthen family bonds, deepen intergenerational connection, and support children in growing into proud, grounded, and engaged leaders who give back to their communities.
Their flagship programs include Tagalog classes and dance classes. Highlights from the 2025 to 2026 school year include Tagalog classes, sizes doubling in the spring with over 100 family members attending.
The dance program will also grow this summer to accommodate an even wider age range, from young children through teens and adults. Their first grassroots fundraising campaign was a success, raising $25,000 from 250 donors.
And on Instagram, their monthly content views have reached 40,000, with multiple posts reaching over 13,000 views. Their strategic goals include strengthening programs through staff training and curricular development, increasing fundraising capacity, building organizational stability, and expanding community engagement and partnership.
Nothing Without a Company and the Pink Ribbon Plays and Queer Up the Details.
We're also proud of our collaboration with Nothing Without a Company, including creative projects like Queer Up the Details and our 24-hour play festival, Pink Ribbon Plays.
Pink Ribbon Plays bring artists together to create new work in a short period of time, showing what can happen when urgency, imagination, and community care meet in the same room.
And artistically, CIRCA Pintig is also moving in some exciting directions. Alongside our original works, we're reimagining the classics. Recently, we started a workshop reading of an adapted King Lear crafted in collaboration with Essential and Visible at the Rizal Center as part of the AAPI Heritage Month.
That adaptation uses Shakespeare's story to talk about aging, caregiving, inheritance power, and family responsibility in immigrant and diasporic communities. We're continuing to develop that project with future workshops, conversations, and performances, so stay tuned.
And there's even more coming up with CIRCA Pintig this season. We have a photo shoot fundraiser inviting community members to be photographed as part of our living archive and to support our work.
We also have summer workshops in storytelling, solo show creation, improv, and more, welcoming beginners, seasoned artists, youth, elders, and everyone in between.
Plus, the Filipiniana photo shoot and solo show workshop in June, and the Chicago Filipino American Theater Festival in September, in collaboration with the Rizal Center and our partner organizations.
You can find details on how to register, volunteer, or support these programs by visiting our website and following CIRCA Pintig and our partners on social media.
Whether it's joining a healing circle, participating in MOSAIC, or all of us, sending your kids to Filipino school, attending the Balikbayan Book Club, celebrating at Fiesta Pinoy, or showing up for a show or workshop, there is a place for you in this ecosystem.
Today, you've just seen a glimpse of how our community shows up for each other through theater, archives, healing circles, health studies, language and dance classes, community conversations, murals, festivals, and nights like Rickshaw Returns at the Rizal Center. All of that is what we mean when we say the art of belonging.
Belonging is not abstract. It looks like aunties and uncles saving 16mm home movies so we remember our history. It looks like kids at the Filipino School of Chicago learning Tagalog and dance. It looks like Filipino nurses being honored through unheard voices of care. It looks like neighbors sitting in a racial healing circle, sharing photos and stories. And it looks like you, wherever you are, choosing to be a part of this.
Every episode of The Art of Belonging will bring you deeper into that ecosystem. You'll meet special guests from our partner organizations, artists from CIRCA Pintig, archivists from the Filipino American Historical Society of Chicago, educators from the Filipino School of Chicago, collaborators from Nothing Without a Company and Essential and Visible, and community health partners lifting up MOSAIC and all of us. We'll also have cultural workers who are building bridges across Chicago.
We'll share scenes from our projects like our adapted King Lear, our 24-hour Playfest Pink Ribbon Plays, the Chicago Filipino American Theater Festival, community conversations through Illinois Humanities programs at the Rizal Center, and practical ways you can get involved. Whether that's taking a workshop, joining a study, attending a book club, volunteering, donating, or simply showing up for the next show.
So, if today's stories moved you, keep tuning in. This is only episode 1, and in the coming episodes, expect more special guests with more behind-the-scene looks, with community spotlights and more conversations about how we build communities where everyone can say, I belong here.
Thank you all so much for joining us for the very first episode of The Art of Belonging. Thank you to everyone who has supported CIRCA Pintig for 35 incredible years. And thank you to everyone keeping our histories, languages, stories, and cultural spaces alive.
Remember, support local art, Share your stories, learn about MOSAIC and all of us, show up for our community partners, and keep building bridges.
This has been The Art of Belonging.